Hi, Sincerely Sisters, and welcome back to Sincerely American. We are so excited to get into so many issues today. There's been a lot of news over the last week, and I think, we're a more culture-based podcast, but I think sometimes when there's important things going on in the news, it's also great to get in there and address. So, what we saw this week, obviously, it came out, I think, the same exact day that our last episode released. We didn't get to cover it there. But we saw that obviously there's been a bunch of ICE raids since Nick Shirley did all of that great reporting where he found out that a lot of these Somalian individuals were starting these fraudulent daycares and they've stolen billions of dollars from taxpayers, you guys. And so it's time to get in there, investigate. And we're also, President Trump had the mandate that he is going to be deporting all of these illegal migrants that have taken over since Biden
Thank
was in.
goodness.
And so he's doing exactly what Americans voted for him to do. And we saw then there was the ICE officer shot the woman, Renee Good, in the car. And immediately after this happened, you saw TikToks, you saw the news, it went out. And so I just kept seeing, Cameron, over the last week, all of these TikToks where they were saying completely wrong information. And let's roll this clip because this is one that I saw.
The only thing I can think of that would be more horrifying and disorienting than opening your phone to see a video of an innocent woman being shot in the face by a federal officer is to then open the comments and see people arguing over whether it is right or wrong.
Yeah, Jamie, I just want to know where these people's outrage was when Charlie Kirk, he was innocent, he was brutally assassinated and in broad daylight. And unfortunately, they're also criticizing his wife on top of it. Where was the same energy with that? We have these women coming out, speaking out against this, and it just sounds so intolerant. It sounds very uneducated to me. Don't threaten a law enforcement officer's life if you're not ready to reap the repercussions of that. And these people don't understand that. These are also the same girls who put like BLM in their bio. You know what I mean? Like in the summer riots of 2020, they were saying George Floyd was a good guy, where he even put I believe it was a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach, his girlfriend at the time, and saying that the police officer deserves that terrible quote unquote justice that they wanted. But anyway, I mean, these girls, they'll find anything. These are like these social justice warriors where they're just trying to like cater and be sheep in society to be widely accepted. But I mean, I'm very, very grateful for this administration because they've put so much in place with the media where they're just not taking the crap anymore. JD Vance addressed this the other day. We have Caroline Levitt at the podium every single day setting them straight. So I do think that the culture and the tides have turned on this. And so I do think a lot of people are seeing through this. But unfortunately, you have girls like this who, are surrounded by other like-minded individuals in New York. I think that's where she's based, where, I mean, they're so far gone. That's why they voted for Mom Donnie.
Yeah, so I really wanted to address this TikTok because I wanted to correct the record. First of all, she called Renee Good innocent. And what we've seen now is we saw a ton of video come out, but this new video that came out a few days ago that I want to roll that clip.
Change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
All right, take it back.
Whoa!
It shows, obviously, this woman tried to run over the ICE officer. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You saw it in her face as she moved forward, and her lesbian partner also instructed her to do so. And so, these men and women who are ICE officials, they put their life out on the line every day to protect our communities. So when you're going to run someone over with a car that is a deadly weapon when you're using your car, then the officer was obviously had every single right to do what he did. And I'm not here celebrating this at all. Like we have children now that do not have a mom. This is a completely tragic situation that I wish never happened. It's very upsetting. However, we this is the woman's actions that resulted in this, unfortunately. And so she was at fault. And like you said, that was the repercussions of her actions. But, I blame this woman obviously for it, but I also blame these Democrats that have created this environment for
Exactly.
these protests to come out. They've fomented that ICE is like Nazis, that they're like SS officials, that they're doing this terrible thing. And they've rallied everybody up that, of course, an incident like this is going to happen because people think that there's lives out on the line and they're coming out, they're protesting. I think a lot of these protesters are also paid. And so I
Mhm.
blame Democrats for, ratcheting up the rhetoric and unfairly dehumanizing the brave men and women of ICE. And this was bound to happen because of that.
Yeah, and we even saw where, to your point about them being paid, where Laura Ingraham was out there, and she was like, "Do like what? Or don't you have a job?" And the girl was like, "Yeah, I'm getting paid while being here." And it was like, "Oh, you're just exposing yourself for being a paid actor." All these people look like how the pro Hamas supporters in New York looked like. Look how privileged of a country we are too. These people get to protest them right in front of their faces because they have freedom of speech. They have the right to peacefully assemble. But if it's not going to be peaceful and you're going to threaten to run over a law enforcement officer, like I said before, that's the consequence of that. And so I do think, like you said, Jay, it's very unfortunate. And I am like, I pray for our country right now because it's truly just despicable what these people are doing in the media, pushing this type of rhetoric that is dehumanizing. It's completely demonizing these brave men and women in uniform, and yeah, it's truly disgusting.
And I also want to put this out here too for all of the people, all of these particularly white woman influencers and the white woman protesters that come out. That's who's, bringing up the rhetoric on this, saying that we need to abolish ICE, F word ICE, like the mayor of Minneapolis said. I love that Fox News put out Bill Malugin, this great reporting where we'll play it up on the screen right now, where this shows the type of people that ICE has been working on getting out of our country. And for our listening audience, it's showing these illegal immigrants and the heinous crimes they've committed in our country, including, sexual exploitation of children, sexual assault of children, murder, the worst of the worst crimes possible. And so I'm so thankful that we have an administration who's getting these people out of the country and making our country safer for our children, especially as a mom, I care about this. So shame on all of you white female liberals who are out here, and because you are, at the end of the day, when you are protesting against ICE, you're protecting these type of people. You're putting those
Mhm.
people first, not our brave men and women of ICE who are making our country safer, and also not for our own citizens. I want to live in a safe country, and unfortunately, Joe Biden opened up the border and let who knows what from who knows where come into our country, and so we need safety. That is the number one thing, and I'm so sick of these white female liberals always protecting criminals. That's like the first implication that they always have with these protests, and I'm also sick of the lies that continue to be peddled. And I'm thankful that we have body cam footage. I remember in the whole BLM era, you saw all these lies, the hands up, don't shoot lie. And so we instituted these body cam footage and they've exonerated all of these officers. So we're going to call you guys out on your lies now, and we're going to show the proof and the evidence and stop pushing hate towards people. That's what this is at the end of the day. This is hate. And, to wrap this up, Karen, like you said at the beginning with the Charlie Kirk assassination, they lied about Charlie Kirk for years, which allowed a radical leftist to get onto a building and shoot Charlie Kirk because he believed that he was literally an equivalent to essentially Hitler because of the leftist lies.
Mhm.
So when you push out lies, you're pushing out an environment that allows for political violence to happen, and I am sick of it.
One thing that's just a huge distinction between liberals versus conservatives is conservatives can respectfully hate your viewpoint. They can condemn it. They think it's wrong, but they still, delight in a respectful conversation. Liberals just hate you as a person. They hate your views and they hate you. And I do believe that's the biggest difference that we're seeing is just everything that they're peddling out. It is just pure hatred. And that's why we really just need to combat this as a whole.
I agree, and that's what we're here for at Sincerely American. Like, obviously, we're a fun podcast. We're about to get into some fun topics and things. But when I do see on female TikTok, when you see a bunch of lies peddled out, like that's where what we're here for. We're to address this and to set the record straight for people who might not be watching Fox News, who might not even be watching a CNN, even though they lie as well, but get all of their information from TikTok, and it's just lies. Like this woman put out, innocent woman. She was not innocent, unfortunately. And like I said, we mourn the death of her, and I pray for her children. It's an incredibly tragic situation, but that's why you don't push out lies, and that's why you don't whip everyone into a frenzy and dehumanize people at the end of the day, because that's what this ends up resulting in. Anyway, now getting into some, I guess, this is some more fun topic. We're hitting some other cultural elements here, not as serious, but actually kind of serious, because I think our culture matters a lot. And I think what we put out into our culture is very important, which is why we do this podcast. So I sent this to you, Cameron, the other day because I saw this just, go viral across X and on TikTok and on Instagram, the usual suspects. But Target put out this sweater. We'll put it up on the screen. And for our listening audience, it's a pink sweater on this model, and it says, "Dump him" across it. And I like, when is Target gonna stop with this? I swear, like every time I go into Target, they have like the weirdest, most political messaging, whether it be like the pride displays that they have. They always have like these models who are they're obviously like these far leftist models that are obese, just to be quite honest, wearing all of these clothes. And I'm just sick of, like, this is just such toxic messaging to young women. And the other thing I'll say, imagine if you went into the men's section and it was like, "She sucks" on the sweatshirt. Like, and I know it's like a cliche to be like, imagine if the shoe was on the other foot, but like, can we just create a more positive culture? And especially, I think this is like for their Valentine's Day collection, and Valentine's Day is supposed to be about love.
Yeah, I know. Like whatever happened to like the happily ever after movies and like seeing like an over display of chivalry. It's like it just shows how miserable they are, Jamie, because they can't even like celebrate love. They can't celebrate coming together on like a fun holiday. They always have to like have an agenda behind it. And it's always a very negative agenda. And like you said, if the roles were reversed, if I were a guy and I saw a girl walk into a bar wearing this, I'd be like, that's a red flag. Like, that's such a red flag. Who did you dirty? Like, what's wrong? You know what I mean? So it's like that would just give me the ick as a man. Of course, women get like the ick all the time, but I look at this and I'm like, you guys are truly just unhappy with life. And like stop pushing that on people who like genuinely are happy with their lives, who like don't want the government involved with it. That's the beauty of the Trump administration, is that you can just trust their agenda enough to like not be watching the news all the time and like trust that the economy is going to be better than from under Joe Biden, that we're going to be respected on a global stage because President Trump's going to demand it. Like, these people, especially because Target's had also, on another note, Target has had so many instances like this where they've tried to either push like a gay agenda on children or like a trans agenda on children, whether that's with the clothing items or the books. And now they're just hating on Valentine's Day. Like, I'm not shocked at all by this.
It kind of reminds me of that article that came out that we talked about, like, I think this was like 2 months ago, that having a boyfriend is uncool now. And I actually think this really relates to even the first topic that we were talking about. There is something sincerely wrong with women nowadays. Like, you see these protests, and it's like you said, a bunch of miserable women out there who are obviously very angry at life and don't have anything better to do, and they're out there on a Thursday protesting. And then you have this type of messaging towards women where it's like, hate men, dump him. And this is a new word that I've been hearing a lot more. I don't think it's actually a new word. I think this word has existed for a long time, I would guess. I don't know exactly when it came into the lexicon, but people have been talking about that they're not just feminists now, because what they used to say about feminism is that it was a strive for equality with men. And like, as we know, as women who are anti-feminists, like, we know it's just gone way too far. But now a lot of women are referring to themselves as misandrist. So these are women who believe that they're superior to men and that they don't even want men involved in their lives whatsoever. And it's just throwing out any traditional gender role, traditional relationship out the door. And, I also want to be clear too. I think, like, I'm not saying that if you're dating a guy, you shouldn't break up with him ever. Like, Cameron, we know from our friendship, like, there's been times where I'm like, this boyfriend is not treating you correctly. Like, it's time to get out of that relationship. And, as terrible as divorce is, there might be instances where divorce is also warranted. But what we're seeing now is a culture where it used to be sad, like, oh, it's sad that I had to break up, but, it's ultimately the best decision. Now we're seeing a culture where people have like divorce celebrations. Like, that's a real thing. Like, someone will get
Yeah.
divorced and they get together and have a party to celebrate their divorce, which used to be obviously a tragic situation, is now something that they're striving towards. And I think we all know this, but at the end of the day, this is just the progressive left. They want to break up families because at the end of the day, you've always talked about this, Cameron, the family is the most important unit in the entire world, and it keeps you from being controlled from the government. If you're just on your own, single, and you don't have a real stake in this country or society like you do when you have children, then you can be controlled. And so they want you to be miserable. They want you to be lonely. They want you to be depressed. They want you to be on these SSRIs. I could go on for days. They want you to be the no hate to cats, but the cliche of the cat woman drinking her rosé by herself at 40 years old and has never had a family. That's what they want you to be. And I just want to say we're the opposite. I think like this is a free country and you can have the freedom to live your life however you choose, but we want you to be the best versions of yourself and not, I don't want to ever give any hate towards women who and children do not work out for them. That obviously is a real thing, but having that attitude just off the bat, no, I'm never getting married. I'm living a child-free life and F men and giving everybody the middle finger. It's just, it's so destructive. I can't think of anything more destructive to society.
Yeah, and hot take, I think this is the result of like all these women over romanticizing everything. There are some things in your life where you actually need to approach it from a realistic perspective of how this is going to impact your life, impact your children's life, and future generations to come if you're living selfishly, if you don't want to get married, if you don't want to pursue having children or creating a legacy. And like you said, this has been their agenda all along. That's why they want to separate men and women out of the household. They want the woman to work as well so they can tax them double. Then the woman won't have any sort of say or opinion. Her mind will be elsewhere on work and also providing for her family in that way. So then the school can swoop in and act like the parent to the child. And there's obviously been a lot of overreach on that, especially here in California. We've seen the craziness at Fairfax, Virginia as well, Jamie, right next to you. You're next door to that, where with the bathrooms and with the type of indoctrination that they're imposing on these innocent children. This is just that on full display, though, and Target's just glorifying it. And it's really sad to see because, like anything, love is very, very hard sometimes, but it's also very, very worth it. You and I are both, we got married young, and we also both say we've done so many great things in our life. Like we worked in the White House, we got to start the show, we do Fox together. But there really is nothing more fulfilling than doing it for a family that you come home to every single day, to make them proud as well and be a good reflection of your family. So just to see this agenda being pushed is obviously very disheartening, but I do believe that the culture has changed and people are seeing right through it and they don't want to be miserable like these people.
Can you imagine if you show up at a bar wearing that sweatshirt? I don't think a single guy would approach you.
No,
Is that just
I just
enough
said
for
that.
a
I
red
think they
flag?
would get the ick. I think they would truly, if I were a guy, I would get the ick if I saw that and be like, who hurt you? You're obviously jaded. Men want peace. They want they're gonna provide stability to somebody who just gives them like peace of mind at the end of the day and like probably makes their life easier in a lot of aspects. And when I read this shirt, I'm like, she's jaded. She doesn't believe in love. She's probably gonna like take a hike the first minute things get tough. She's not gonna be like a strong woman or like a good rock for the family. Like I wouldn't want to pursue that. Like I always read deep into things though.
Maybe a guy should buy it and like show up to the bar in it himself and like convince girls who are dating, like, dump him, be with me.
Yes.
That could be the pickup line there.
Yes.
We'll see. Okay, speaking of finding true love, I thought this clip was so funny. We had to touch on it. So President Trump was giving a speech. I don't even know where the speech was, but this was last week. I think he was talking to some donors or something, and he was going on with his riff. But we'll roll the clip here. It was about Melania.
By the way, my wife hates when I do this. She said, she's a very classy person, right? She said, it's so unpresidential. I said, but I did become president. She hates when I dance. I said, everybody wants me to dance. I have to say this, the dancing they really like. She said they don't like it, they're just being nice to you. I said, that's not right. The place goes crazy.
Okay, so Melania gets the ick from Trump's dancing. I thought that was so funny. That's so relatable. Anyone who's been married, you know that you can get the ick even from the people that you love. Cameron, what are your icks in general?
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and I don't know if I get like normal icks that are just like little. I don't know. I have pet peeves where like I don't like them like anybody being on their phone like while I'm talking, just like little things like that. But honestly, I love this video so much because we're never going to have another president like this, like who's just so relatable, like leaving it all out on the table for everybody. Like, don't you remember the Obama era as well? And there's so many memes on this where they were comparing the two between when Trump killed a known terrorist and when Obama went in and killed a known terrorist. And the way Obama approached it was like very politically correct. It was like, we had a strategic mission and we executed it firmly. And then Trump's like, he died like a dog. It's like, you're never gonna have another like first family who's just so open with the American public. I mean, there's a reason where Caitlin Collins at CNN said that he's the most like transparent president in human history. It's because he's so transparent and he loves talking to people. He was a New York businessman, and so he has a great personality. Might as well use it. And I love seeing more sides of Melania too, because Melania has so much aura in the background, and she is off doing her thing, and she's an incredible mother. But it's fun to see these personal moments between them, where you just love them even more.
Well, I'm excited for Melania's movie because I love President Trump is literally the president of the United States, like the biggest job in the entire human history to be the president. And Melania's still like, yeah, he's not good enough for me. Love her energy with that. She makes me laugh. Like, and I love that they don't like. I feel like a lot of, like you said, a lot of presidents in the past, they just used to act like their lives were perfect. Everything they said was poll tested. I love that President Trump, he's just like, you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. And he's always going to be honest and he's always going to be authentic. Like, he's not afraid to actually be vulnerable and talk about funny things. And I feel like this is like always what we've talked about, Cameron. Like, I like people who like don't, over the top take themselves like so seriously and are able to be vulnerable and make fun of themselves. Like, that's the type of people I like hanging out with. Like, I like people that, have some self-deprecating humor. I think I did that with some with our propaganda we're not falling for one time. I said, I'm like, I love self-deprecating humor. And they're always like, President Trump has such a big ego, all this stuff. And I'm like, maybe he does. Of course he does. Like, it's something I love about him. I find it charming. But like, he also makes fun of himself a lot. And I just think it's really funny. And Melania definitely got the ick from that, but okay, I'm gonna say my ick.
Yeah.
My number one ick, and to be clear, my husband does not do this. My husband does the opposite, so I'm very thankful for that. But when a man like crosses his legs, and I think like we called out Gavin Newsom like a month ago for doing this. It may have been 2 months ago. Let's put that up on screen. And like men's who cross their legs and sit like very feminine, and they're just like sitting there like all proper. Like I'm like, ew, you're a man. You don't cross your legs like a woman. I find that like to be my biggest ick.
I know, like Eric Swalwell did that too in an interview. We've seen Gavin Newsom do it. It's just like
We also fart
it's
on
like
TV.
soy boy versus like aura farming, because then you'll have like Marco Rubio with his like legs wide open at like a cabinet meeting or whatever in the Oval Office with some foreign dignitary or leader, and it's just so funny to see like the difference. Oh, we saw that with oh my gosh, Zelensky. Didn't Zelensky do that as well? And then you just had like Rubio, Pete Hegseth, and Trump like aura farming with their hands like clasped in between their legs, and they were just like leaning forward, like, what are you talking about? And then Zelensky was there with like a full-blown costume. He was like cosplaying as somebody who was like on the front lines of this Russia-Ukraine war with the bulletproof vest or like the black shirt and the cargo pants. Do you remember this era? I was like,
Yeah.
it's I know, it's very much indicative of like a feminine personality, in my opinion, like you said.
Yeah, it's kind of giving a little gay. I hate to say that. No offense to gay people, but it's giving a little gay. If you're a straight man, do not sit with your legs crossed. Like sit like a man, please. That is my biggest ick. The dancing wouldn't give me the ick. I think the dancing's cute. I like Trump's dancing. I like a little personality, but Melania is a very proper woman, so I can understand why she might not like
Yeah,
that
where
from
she
Trump.
even said, she was like, would what president did she say? Like, oh, would FDR do that? Don't you remember like in the later in the clip, she said to Trump, like, do you think FDR would be dancing right now? I love her.
He probably wouldn't, but I don't think FDR could stand because he was in a wheelchair, unfortunately. But I guess he could still do the upper body.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Okay, let's get into I have no words. where we always have a lot of words. Okay, I sent this to Cameron. I think this video is so funny. And I'm sorry, we keep talking about the Minnesota thing, but like one last thing about the Minnesota thing, because I could not stop laughing at this. I actually saw this today and I said to Cameron, I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to talk about this. So we'll play the full clip, but this woman, I guess it's a new trend that you're seeing where women are like on first dates. And I've seen this before where they're trying to root out the Republicans. And I'm like, okay, root out the Republicans, please. The rest of us conservative girls will have the real men, thank God. You can take the liberal men. We don't want them anyway. Please take them because we want them out of the dating pool. I'm speaking on behalf of all normal women on that. But I guess their new way that they're testing them is if they agree with what Nick Shirley's reporting was. So we'll play that full clip.
Do you support Nick Shirley?
Do I support Nick Shirley? I mean, yeah, he exposed fraud in Minnesota. I mean, yeah, I support him. I mean, it's pretty impressive to do for a 23-year-old. Why? What do you think about him?
I mean, you just broke into those businesses.
Broke in? That's actually what you think? You think he broke into those businesses?
I mean, did he not?
No. They didn't even spell the name right. They said Quality Clearing Center.
He broke into those businesses and he's pushing a false agenda.
You think he's pushing a false agenda?
Yeah.
You actually think that?
He's literally pretending to be a reporter and he's not.
He kind of is a reporter.
No, yeah.
He's a YouTuber, yeah, but he happens to also be a reporter. He's better than most reporters.
He's literally racist. He was only targeting them because they're Somalian.
How's that? He spotted fraud. Fraud is fraud. Would you agree?
This isn't fraud.
That is fraud.
No, it's not.
If you're getting money, then you don't have a legit daycare center. That is fraud.
Okay, but I'm sure they have like really good reasons and they probably used it for good things. Who cared if they immigrated here?
They used it to buy like chrome heart glasses or whatever. It's all for nice cars. They're not using it for kids.
Okay, I just love this clip because like she was obviously like trying to expose him and like he came off so educated and smart. I'm like, this man's amazing. And like Cameron and I are both married, but please, we have a bunch of Sincerely sisters that are single and would love to date you. So write into the show, please, so we can set you up with someone. I don't know what his name is, but can we find him for one of our girls? Because he deserves to have a Sincerely sister because this guy is great. He is a real winner. So I'm so thankful for this crazy liberal woman for exposing a great guy for our girls.
Yeah, the only person she was exposing was herself. She sounds very intolerant, insufferable, actually. Like, does she think that she works at, like, O'Keefe Media? Like, it's like one of those James Keefe operations. I'm like, you did nothing except expose how the radical lunacy of your party and the unhappiness within yourself. And he was just looking to have, like, a nice date. And yeah, exactly. Right into the show, we have plenty of other great girls for you who have way better values, and who are way happier with their lives and fun to be around. We had so many of them at our launch party. So please, yeah, it's so sad to see though with like we've said, the overall theme of this episode too, just the negativity, the intolerance. No, I wouldn't want to be around this all the time.
His face, though, made me laugh, Cam. Like, he was like, he was like going through the reasons that were all correct about Nick Shirley's reporting. And she kept like pushing back on all of them to the point where she finally, like, because you can't deny that this fraud was occurring. Now, of course, they were denying that at the beginning, but now it's just like the evidence is there. They're still trying to deny it the entire time because, like, you can literally show evidence, and these people are so propagandized that they won't even like accept evidence. But then she finally goes, whatever, they were spending it on good things, like defending the Somalis who defrauded us as taxpayers in this country. And he's just sitting there like this. His mouth, he's like, so you think that's okay? Like, his mouth was wide open because it's like, how do you even reason with someone like this? And I'm saying this as someone who's like, my goal is to change hearts and minds. Like, I really try, but like someone like this, it's like, it's almost like you've been so propagandized that you're just denying one, basic reality, and two, basic morality. And it's such a dysfunctional way of speaking. You can tell there's not going to be a second date on either end. I will say that. And that guy should get as far away from this woman as possible. And the other point I wanted to make too is unless you are a journalist, like a video journalist like Nick Shirley, I know she was like, he's not a journalist. Anyone can be a journalist. So if you're doing like real investigation of our government and stuff, then I love when you're taking the camera and exposing things. But if you're on a private date and you're secretly filming it, like, I don't care what happens on that, you're in the wrong. Like, who privately films someone to like try to expose them? Just that like mentality that has come in this social media era where like I see anything happening and people are immediately like pulling out their phones to try to expose the other person. I'm like, this is just such a gross culture. Like, if you're engaging in that, like, I don't even care what he's saying. Like, you're wrong. I hate that. I hate the
Yeah.
expose them
I
type
know.
culture. Like,
It shows a lack of God in this country though. Like it's a lack of God. These people have propped up idols like just the propaganda in the news, scrolling online, the doom scrolling, consuming everything and ingesting everything in the media that could be wrong without even fact checking it or seeking like further evidence that what this narrative that they're being shown on their feed is correct. So I know it's with things like this though, and especially with this girl, like it's not going to get better unless like we bring women back to church too, because like Gen Z men are like going back to church in droves. Like something actually really needs to give with young women. And so yes, I'm very glad that we do this podcast, and hopefully, you know, some people like her see this and we are able to change hearts and minds. But this is just a very like miserable mindset that you have nothing better to do. And Nick Shirley, he is a real journalist. He put his life out on the line.
he's a better journalist than
He
all
put
these
boots on the
quote unquote
ground.
real ones.
He put boots on the ground using his own money, time, and resources to go out there and expose the truth. And that to me is a lot more than what a lot of other journalists these days do, besides just peddling out the same talking points. So I actually would like to give Nick Shirley a lot of credit that he is so young and he is performing at a higher pace than a lot of other journalists in this field do. And so this girl, she's just very uneducated, obviously very sad with her own life that she had to go on a date and just like I don't know, project this sort of like depression and like just miserable way of living onto this man. And so I hope this man comes out on top. Obviously, he got a little bit of exposure. Hopefully some girls are sliding in the DMs and wanting to go on a better date with him.
This guy's a winner. I'm glad that she actually exposed him for being a great guy. He deserves a great girl. So, we wish the best for him, and we wish that she hopefully comes into reality and gets out of this delusional mindset. Okay, you guys, let's go into the next section, our Q&A. And we love hearing from you girls. So as always, make sure if you have not written a question yet that you write in at sincerelyamerican.com. So our first question today is from Emily from Nevada. What is one belief you held strongly at 18 that you have completely changed your mind on? That is a great question, Cam. I'll throw it to you first.
I know, I love this question. I think one dramatic shift I've had growing up is just redefining what success looks like. I think when I was younger, I was more malleable to believing kind of like the social media lifestyle of like the success is the type of car and how much is in my bank account and how many people are, you know, listening to me or following me and like really where I can go with that sort of trajectory in life. And I couldn't have been more wrong, really. I think success for me now is like having a roof over my head, having like stability in my home and in my personal relationships in my life with my closest friends and with my family, and a luxury to be able to go and travel and see them on a yearly or monthly basis. And so yeah, I would just say that is more of a successful life. Like, do I have food in the fridge? Am I comfortable enough to go to the grocery store and fill up my cart and not have to worry about what the bill is, or going out and having a nice meal with my friends and being able to pick up the tab? Like, those are the things that I thoroughly enjoy, that I see as more of a success now, rather than just the material items that come with coming from with having a successful job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Mine is a little less serious, but I love, I agree with everything that you just said. I think that's normal as you get a little bit older, like the importance of things shift. So, as you guys know, I grew up in California, and I think that this is like a very common mindset that a lot of Californians have. And a lot of people I notice in the Northeast have this mindset as well, where you think like if you don't live in California or New York, like you just like that's the only place that's like cool that you can live. Which is crazy now because I completely believe the opposite, actually. And I was just very like, I will never leave California. I'm a California girl. I love California. California is the best place on earth. We have the best weather. It's the most beautiful. It's the best fashion, all of this stuff. And California is amazing. Do not get me wrong. I still love my home. I'm very thankful to have grown up there. But I do think that a lot of people over there can be very close minded to the rest of the country and that there are amazing places elsewhere. And, I never wanted to live on the East Coast. And now I live on the East Coast. And I will say I am a bit of an East Coaster. I might even like it more than California in a lot of ways. Like, I really do. And I think that no matter where you go in the country, like, people will, like, crap on like a certain state or something. I just don't believe that. I think like every country, sorry, every state, every city has like even a nice area that you can find. And I just hate that I had like such a closed-minded mindset with that. Because genuinely, I think like I think that's what's great about the US. It's just so diverse, not even in just weather, but in culture, in food, in architecture, in vibe. So there's just so many cool places that you can go and live that are so different. And it's honestly like I almost feel like now it's like comparing apples to oranges, like living even on the East Coast or if you live in the South or the Midwest has some great areas. Not Minneapolis right now. I will say that. I would not want to live in that city. That city's had a lot of issues. I'm sorry if anyone's from Minneapolis. Maybe that's the one thing I'll say I don't want to live at. But I feel like I used to be just so much more closed-minded on that. And just in general, I used to be like way more black and white with everything. And I think as you get a little bit older, there's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of nuance for things. And you don't have to be like so harsh and opinionated on everything. So that would be my answer for that. Okay, moving to our next question is Gracie from Florida. What advice would you give to someone looking to change majors? I have a substantial amount of credits of my current major, but I'm looking to completely change my career focus and get into politics. What should I do?
Well, I think that's the beauty of politics is that we see so many different people from different socioeconomic statuses, from different parts of the country to different backgrounds. Like that is the beauty of politics is that it can bring every single American together. And, you have people in the White House, like look at Dr. Oz and look at RFK Jr. And look at all these people in the medicinal field. And that way they all have medicine backgrounds. They all probably have backgrounds in like biology and food science, nutrition. If you're more in that area or if you're in programs like STEM, I think like STEM is really, really great background to have as well. We actually worked with a girl who was an intern in the White House. Her name was Mackenzie. She actually was the person who introduced me and Jamie, and she had a background in engineering. So you can do whatever you want. And I actually think it makes you stand out more if you were to have a major that's different than just a poli-sci major like I had. I had a poli-sci major with track and law. I think that's pretty standard for wanting to get into politics, but just pursue your interests. And obviously the passion will follow, the money will follow. If you're wanting to get into politics, I don't see why you can't do that with the major that you may already have. I don't know what it is. It could even be fashion. And, you never know. You could work for Melania Trump's office and you could intern there, or you could work with like a conservative led designer. So I just think there's just so many areas in politics that you can gravitate towards, and you're not restricted. That's what's really beautiful about politics is you're not just restricted to one thing. I've dabbled in PR. I've been behind the camera as a booking producer. I've been in front of the camera as a commentator. I've been a reporter, and then I've been on the other side of that, answering the questions instead of asking them. There's just so many different things you can do. So I wouldn't get discouraged at all. That would be my advice is maybe just to stay with that major. If you have almost all of the credits necessary to graduate, just press forward with that.
I think that there's certain career paths where you have to do a certain major in school. Like I'm thinking about medicine, for example, like anyone who was looking to become a doctor, like you have to do pre-med. That's at least what it was at Cal. Or if you're looking to go into tech, for example, you have to take computer science a lot of times. I don't know if that's changed, but at least back in my day, not that long ago that I was in college, like veterinary school, there are certain engineering, obviously you need to have an engineering background. So there are very serious jobs that you need to be very careful about what you're doing in school because you need that certain major in order to pursue that job. But like Cameron just said, politics is not one of them. And I will say this, most people, I'm like trying to think of the last time someone's like, Jamie, what did you major in? in college. And so I would say if you're looking to go into politics, in general, I would say try to do a major that is focused on like political science or like history. For example, I did American history for my major, but like Cameron said, there's a lot of ways that you can transfer that into politics, and you can actually have a unique background in a certain field and then work in that particular industry in politics as well. So I think I wouldn't say it's a big deal. Like I think if you're, like I said, not getting into the super serious career path where you need that certain degree, I think just do what you're most interested in and what you really want to learn, because at the end of the day, that is what college is about. It's about expanding your worldview. It's about becoming very educated. And so if you're obviously taking a lot of time doing those classes, so do something that you're interested in, unless you do, like I said, have that very particular job background you want to do. But I wouldn't worry about it. I think you'll be good with your current thing, especially if you have a lot of credits. I wouldn't like ever recommend for you to stay in college longer just to switch a major for something that I don't think is a big deal. Okay, Eliana from Tennessee. This year, I'm really focused on getting closer to God and focusing on my faith journey. What are some practices you incorporate Jesus in your daily routine? Do you have any advice?
This is so cute. I love this question. I love our Sincerely sisters. Yeah, I think one thing that's very underrated is, a lot of people say like read the Bible, of course. That's like first and foremost, dive into the word. Bring Jesus into your life through prayer, but I think what's often overlooked is seeing God like in nature. I'm somebody who likes to like be outside. I was a Florida girl. I loved, going to the ocean really early in the mornings and like swimming for a bit before starting my day at work. California has really, really beautiful, huge palm trees here, and every single street can be aligned with a certain tree. So it's really nice seeing God in nature more. And if you're somebody who hikes, or you like to go swimming, or you like to just be outside walking, like really appreciating that you have fresh air to breathe, and like just giving God that gratitude, because I think that's so important. It really does chemically rebalance your mindset and how you approach your day, how you approach your job, how you approach your family. Is just really focusing on the positives and everything that God has given you and life has to offer. And so I would say just finding God in the little things, and even being grateful for the roof over your head and the small things, like we said earlier, that a lot of people normally overlook in their day-to-day routine. That would be my primary advice to you. And then often, of course, at night, I always try to incorporate prayer or before a meal. So I just think making sure that you start off with those minor habits in order to put that into your day, then you're going to start to be able to fully start shifting your lens on Christ and how to incorporate him and how he is involved in your day-to-day life.
I love all of that. I think my biggest suggestion is incorporating, like, have a constant conversation with God. And like I can be very guilty of this. I will always pray before anything important in my life, but we shouldn't be just doing that before important things where we really need God. I think we should be doing that even when you are like not doing something crazy or whatever, but you're just having a constant communication and building that relationship and thanking God every day for everything that he's given you, every opportunity that he's given you, just showing your graciousness towards him, I think is the best way to build a very strong relationship with the Lord. Because I think sometimes we'll fall when we're in very down times or we have some big thing, and it's like, no, we shouldn't just have those times in order to have that communication. And this might be the Catholic in me, but I think you should get down on your hands and knees every time you pray and make that a big part of your life. I think
Yes,
is a great way to go about it.
that's so beautiful, Jamie. I like how you noted, like, get down on your hands and, or sorry, get down on your knees and pray. I believe there's like nothing more sacred than like humbling yourself before the Lord too, because I think we live in a social media culture too, like people like just the egos and the constant like surrounding like content or whatever. I'm guilty of this. Where like it's about us, like it's about me, like my majority of my day is about myself, like how I feed myself, what like making my bed, or like calling people for my own like personal benefit, and really humbling yourself before the Lord, getting down on your hands and knees and doing that for him, and making sure that you are just casting so much gratitude and you are very knowledgeable and acknowledge the blessings that you have in your life for him. I believe that just it changes the entire trajectory again of not only your day-to-day routine but your life. If you're focused on the negative, then you're going to have nothing but negativity come into your life. If you're focused on the positives and the blessings and everything that the Lord has to offer you, he's going to trust you with those blessings and give you more. And I mean, of course, as Christians, I don't want to preach what is it, prosperity gospel that like you'll always get everything in your favor all the time. You won't. But I do believe even in those really, really tough moments, that's where I've seen God the most, is when I'm going through tons and tons of tribulations. And like Jamie said it so beautifully, like don't just incorporate God in the moments before a meal or like before something big. Incorporate him in like a day-to-day conversation you would have with your friend, obviously in a respectful manner and like a private space where you can really be present with him. But yeah, I mean, this is just such a cute question though. And I wanted to say too, like to our audience, like we appreciate you girls opening up about this because I know like a spiritual journey is just very vulnerable for our girls.
All right, let's head into hot or not. So, Cameron, hot or not, Pucci out. What is this? I keep seeing this everywhere. What is a Pucci outfit?
Oh my gosh, it stems from this video. It's like my new vocal stem. Do you remember when we had our vocal stem? Abdullah back and kaboom.
Yeah.
Okay, so my new vocal stem is Pucci outfit because Alabama Barker was doing a Christmas haul of like everything Travis and Courtney and Kylie and Kendall like bought her at Christmas, and she got these. I don't know if they were Robert Cavalli. I maybe not, but she got these really pretty heels, and she was like, "Ooh, this would look nasty with a Pucci outfit." And now like everybody's using that like audio. We can roll the clip of it.
Nasty with a Pucci outfit, nasty. Nasty with a Pucci outfit, nasty.
Now everybody's using this audio as like their new vocal stem, but a Pucci outfit is Emilio Pucci, this designer. And I'm gonna go hot for it. Have you ever seen a Pucci outfit? Before you answer, Jay, I would look it up. Have you seen them?
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I just don't know why
Oh, the
it's so
trend.
big.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm gonna go hot. I think this is so cute for summer. It really just like spices up a look because they have just such like fun, exotic patterns and they're all very bright. And I love a Pucci outfit. So I agree, Alabama Barker, they would look nasty in a Pucci outfit, but I will be wearing Louboutins with mine. I will not be wearing your heels, but they were very cute.
I'm gonna go not because for the actual brand, I like Missoni better for
Oh,
like
yeah.
summery type outfits. And I'm gonna sound like a bitch. I just don't really like Alabama Barker. So whatever she's saying, I'm like, I'm just gonna go not.
I
Like,
know. It's just like a cultural moment. It's my brain rot on TikTok, so I get it.
I love that, Cam. I love that. I'm just not an Alabama. Either are you though. So I'm not even saying you are. But
It
I'm
was just
like,
a funny clip where I'm like, I would say some like cringe shit that would like get recorded like that. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, yeah. I mean, nasty with the Pucci outfit. I'm like, it's just my new like vocal stem. That's just total brain rot.
I love it. Okay, matcha.
Matcha, I'm
I
gonna
actually
go
love that
hot
you put
just
this.
because I'm like an LA girl now and it's like a part of the culture. I feel like on the East Coast, I mean, in Tampa, I would get like chai slash matcha lattes, like they would incorporate both, and that's great. But like, it's a huge thing here. As Jamie knows, being from California, like you walk on any corner and there's a matcha shop around LA, specifically where I live too. So I've gotten more into it, and especially if you don't want to do like a full coffee or if I'm like, can't stop drinking Diet Coke, like I will I will have a matcha.
That is so fun. Okay, I'm gonna go not for not. My reason is I rather have like a smoothie or a green juice than a matcha. To be honest, I do like. The only thing I'll say I do like matcha for is those little mochi ice cream balls. I haven't had one in so long. I like that flavor for that. Like the Japanese ice cream.
Yeah.
I think it's Japanese. Um, I though love. I saw this like on TikTok the other day. It's like I'm not going out for a matcha, and it said it's like a glass of wine, and I was like, I kind of like that. Like I'm like, if I'm going out with friends, it's gonna be to go get like a drink. It's not gonna be to go get a matcha. So I kind of like that vibe more. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest with
totally.
you. Okay, the dense bean salad trend, hot or not?
Okay, I'm also gonna go hot for this, but I've never made them. But I've seen like everywhere on TikTok where, like Jennifer Aniston, I think made like a very dense salad on the set of Friends a lot, or like a quinoa salad or something. And then it started this whole trend where people are like more finely chopping all of the ingredients for a salad, and it looks so yummy. Like I wish I would be the type to meal prep this because it looks so good. So I'm gonna go hot.
There's actually a girl, she's based in San Francisco, and she like think she has like a lot of allergies to things. I think she's like gluten free or something, but she does a dense bean salad. Like she's like really famous for doing those on TikTok. I'm not like fully against them, but like to be honest, I'm gonna be like straight honest with you. Whenever I do beans and anything, it kind of grosses me out the smell of like the can. Like I'm always like, ugh. Like if I'm served it at a restaurant, I like beans or whatever, especially like Mexican food. But like if I'm cooking with beans myself, I do like a lot of chickpeas. I'll do them like in the oven, for example. I'll do like roasted chickpeas or like I'll make my own hummus. But I always think like just having it raw like that, I don't know why. Whenever it comes out of the can, it kind of grosses me out. Something about that. So
Yeah.
that's just me on that. Hatch alarm clocks.
Okay, I don't have a Hatch. I know you do because of Vivian, but I've
Yeah.
seen so many advertisements from like
Yeah.
TikTokers for this Hatch alarm, and they're like, it is just so much more gentle to wake me up with the light and the sound. And I'm very big into sound machines when I sleep. I have the Calm app, and it's kind of like to a ridiculous amount. I pay like an absurd, ungodly amount for this subscription of like all the different sounds, like the brown noise, the
Yeah.
pink noise, the heavy rain, the jungle. Like it's so annoying. Bedtime stories, and I love it. Like puts me to sleep. But I've never tried this Hatch alarm clock, and I'm gonna go hot because I want one, because my alarm clock in the morning, I'm like, get this off. Like I don't wanna listen to it. That is my biggest ick, is my alarm clock.
Is there anything worse where you're like dead asleep and you just like to
I know.
like that is the worst way to wake up in the entire world. I will stand by that. That is like nothing is worse than that. So I have the Hatch for the baby, and Vivian sleeps with us right now, which we're trying to change. She has her big girl bed now. But I do love sleeping with a sound machine. It's funny, I was in a hotel this weekend with Drake, and I actually did not sleep as well because we didn't have our regular Hatch on that we have with Vivi in the room. But so yeah, I'm in favor of them. I think like for babies, they're great to have that sound machine there. And you can have like a red light, because apparently like the blue light off the phone keeps you awake a lot more, but the red light is like a little more soothing with sleep. So it can have like a little night light, which is nice. But I will say this, my biggest hack for you guys, so you don't necessarily have to like invest in this like Hatch wake up thing, is do not do blackout curtains in your room. My mom has like always been against that. And as a teenager, I'll say it's annoying because you can't like sleep in the same way as if you have blackout curtains. You know, like the type of curtains where like it could be 9 a.m. and you would have no idea because it's so dark in your room. I have like kind of just natural shades in my room, and we do have, I think we have eastern facing windows. Yeah, because the sun rises to the east. And so it's pretty bright in our room in the morning, but it's nice because I actually, unless I'm getting up super early to do a TV hit, I wake up naturally before my alarm, because just the natural sunlight comes in, and it's a way nicer way, and it gets you into your circadian rhythm and everything than like waking up in a pitch black room. My mom like always stood by. She's like, successful people do not have blackout curtains. So I'm like, okay. So
I love that.
that's my biggest hack for like, and if you, obviously it's hard to like, you won't be able to really sleep in that late because it is super bright, but I don't know. I'm past the sleeping in stage of life being a mom now. So it's nice to be able to just get up naturally.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, next one, caviar bumps. This is so a Cameron thing to throw in.
I know. I'm gonna go hot because, yeah, have you guys ever seen the memes of like, a man can't impress me because this is me and my best friend on a random Tuesday, and these girls are like drinking wine and like at 2 p.m. with caviar already sitting at the table? That is me and Jamie, but I did force her to eat it. So I'm gonna go hot. There's so many skin benefits to this too. It's like a natural retinol, and it's really, really gut healthy, and it's just fun. It like brings the vibes up. So I'm gonna go hot.
I'm gonna go not, for the reason I don't like dislike caviar, but I'm not like obsessed with it, if I'm being honest with you. And it's like, I think to get caviar on a regular basis, if you're paying for it, if you're not at like a nice event or something where they're having it, like if I'm like personally buying caviar, it's not worth it in my opinion. Like I don't like it enough to be like spending hundreds of dollars on it, but it is a very chic look, I will say that. But for me, I think I rather pay for like a nicer dinner. That's my hot take. Okay, next one is monogramming.
Hot for sure, because I remember, Jamie, you got me and all of the girls those bags for Bryson's
Oh,
bachelorette
yeah.
party, and they're so cute. And Jamie put all of our names on them, and then we also got these monogrammed tie-dye sets, and I'm sure Jamie can tell you girls where to get those as well. But I think it's so chic, and I also think it just means more if you give somebody a gift that's personalized to them. It's cute and it's chic to me, and it's just like you'll have it forever. It has your name on it. It's yours. And so I'm going to go hot. I love it.
I love that as well. I'm definitely going hot for monogramming. I especially love it for like Vivian. I love her name, so I like putting it on everything. So I think monogramming such a nice touch, and there's so many like cute places that you can do it. So I'm super in favor of that. And doing like your initials too is really cute. So definitely a hot. All right, you guys, getting in the last section of the day, propaganda we're not falling for. Cameron, what propaganda are you not falling for?
Propaganda that I'm not falling for is staying in a cheap hotel. And I know this may be very controversial because some people may be like, well, what if you can't like do anything about that? There are ways to get inexpensive hotels in like safer places. And when I say cheap hotel, I mean a hotel. If you're a woman and the door is from the outside of the building, you should not be staying there, in my opinion. That is very unsafe for you, especially if like your spouse isn't with you or you're single. I'm just a big believer in like if you are going to invest something on a trip, it should be where you stay, because where you stay kind of sets the tone for where you're going and the activities that you're doing, because that's where you're getting your rest, that's where you're getting ready, like that's where your personal belongings are. And if your personal belongings are in a place where you're like, I don't know if the cleaning lady may like swipe something from me, I don't know if this door is going to be locked the entire time I'm away, I'm worried that they didn't clean these sheets. It's like, why bother yourself with that? I would personally rather spend money on a nicer hotel than like I don't know, any other expense that you may have on the trip. So that's the propaganda I'm not falling for. I'm not falling for the what is it called when you travel internationally? Jamie, you've told me about these things. What are they called?
Oh,
Hostels? I'm
hostels.
not
I
falling
don't
for
think
like
I
the
would go there.
hostel culture. I'm not I maybe when like you're a college student it's fun, I get that, but like I just can't do a cheap hotel.
I back when I was in college, I definitely did like some cheaper Airbnbs and have some crazy stories from there. Maybe I'll share in the future where there was like one that Isabel and I actually stayed at on an abroad trip. Not crazy in terms of like partying, because I never really did that. Crazy as in like there was like this haunted one that we were like convinced was like haunted and things. Like I've definitely stayed at some kind of shady places maybe before when I was younger, but I kind of agree with you now. Like I want to stay in a clean bed. I don't want to have to deal. Thank God I've never had this issue, but like bed bugs I feel
I
like can be
know.
in like gross
And
hotels.
when I say
Yeah.
cheap, I don't even mean monetarily. I mean cheap by like the atmosphere that you're putting yourself in. Like,
Yeah.
is it like a non-smoking hotel, or is it somewhere where it's like they can smoke inside and in the rooms and that's like seeping into like the air that you're breathing, or like are they on top of cleaning things and like changing out the sheets and everything? Yeah, I agree with you. There's sometimes those are the best stories where you stay in places like that, but then yeah, as I've gotten older, that's just like the one thing I'm investing in is like making sure I have a safe, nice experience.
Okay, can I say one thing though? Something I'm like not hugely in favor of is if I'm staying in a city, for example, if I'm going to New York or if I'm going to Paris where I'm going to be out all day, I am not going to stay at like a Four Seasons and pay sometimes $2,000 a night. Absolutely not. I will stay in a nice, clean hotel, but like I've found like really nice, cute little boutique hotels that are very clean and nice, but like are not that expensive. But if I'm going to like Mexico and it's like a resort trip, then I would never spend $2,000 on a hotel room, but you know what I mean. I would go to a nicer resort where it's like more of an experience type resort where they have like the beach or where you're staying on the hotel ground. So that would be like my one caveat. Personally would not spend like a lot of money if you're like out all day in the city and you just need somewhere to sleep.
Yeah, I could agree with that, but I am a rotter at heart, and if I'm going on a trip,
You-
I want to be lazy and I want to go to the beach and then I want to come right back to that hotel, and I want like the room service to get there within 30 minutes. So I will definitely invest in a nice hotel. But I agree, like you can find nice hotels like you said, boutiques that aren't like that expensive, but they're still very nice. They treat you very kindly and they have like a trustworthy and respectable staff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree. Okay, propaganda that I'm not falling for is quote unquote clapping back and posting receipts. I have just seen recently so much of this culture, and it's like I feel like it started with like the reality TV show, as we say on this podcast all the time, the Kardashification of society. But now it's just like in politics, with influencers, with celebrities. It's like this culture where everyone's like trying to expose somebody and they're like, I have the receipts. I'm going to clap back. I just think like if you lay down with the dogs, you're going to get fleas. And I just believe in like rising above in these situations. And even if like I've never been in a situation where there's like some public feud with me happening. I'm not like in any way have that level of fame whatsoever. So I hope I'll never like be in that type of situation. But I just think like if you're a celebrity and people are coming out or talking shit about you and all of stuff, I feel like you look better if you just don't say anything, to be honest. Like I actually think silence sometimes, even in like personal arguments, like in your personal life, if you're in an argument with someone, and I think we did on our like inner outlets, like arguing over text, for example. Sometimes it's better actually just to not respond. I think it's a stronger response in so many ways. And so I just hate this. You know the culture I'm talking about, Cameron, where it's like, I'm gonna clap back. I'm posting these receipts. I'm coming out here with the meanest tweet possible. Like I hate that culture. I just think like everybody involved, I don't even care about who's right and wrong anymore. Like everyone just looks trashy when they get
Yeah,
involved in all of
it's
that.
very classless behavior. I think it's, you said silence speaks louder than words sometimes. And if you are having those negative feelings, just don't even share them. Like, just pray about it. And when you do that publicly, it's just bringing you down like so many notches, in my opinion, where I'm like, that's not even worth your time, essentially, to even like
I feel
respond. And
like you're
people
like,
shouldn't respond to that. It's just like, again, classless behavior that's like clickbait for attention.
yeah, I just feel like it's like aura farming to be like, oh, I'm just too good for you. I'm not even gonna respond to this.
Yeah.
I'm just too good for this situation. I'm just gonna rise above. I feel like it's like aura farming. So anyway, I hate that culture.
Yeah.
Okay, Cameron, what propaganda are you falling for?
Propaganda that I'm falling for is, especially in 2026, is eating and drinking your skincare. I see so many people saying like invest in medical grade skincare and doing all these things. And as I turn 25, like obviously I want to do like have preventative maintenance in that regard. But I do think it all starts in your gut. And I do believe like your body is being fueled by what you're putting into it. And that's going to reflect on the outside, whether that's like bloating, how your skin looks, things like that. So making sure that I just eat like skin healthy foods like carrots and like making sure that I'm staying very, very hydrated and making sure that I have balanced meals, like incorporating salmon and then red meat and also having veggies and like a carb or like a sweet potato, things like that. Like I've just been making more balanced meals rather than like a hodgepodge of things. So I think, and I've seen a lot of difference with like my brain fog and like my activity levels throughout the day. I used to like always have a crash at 3 p.m. And so overall I've seen like nothing but benefits for this.
I love that. Mine is actually a similar vein. Propaganda that I am falling for is making America healthy again. I am just so excited by what this administration is doing. Like, obviously, it starts at the top with President Trump, but his appointees, RFK and Secretary Brooke Rollins, who's a dear friend of Drake and mine, she's just awesome. I'm just so excited of what they're doing. This week, I had the amazing opportunity. I was at the White House press briefing and I got to ask a question about it because I'm just so passionate. I am a MAHA mom proudly. And I love that they revised the vaccine schedule and they're giving the power back to the parents. That is so important for parents. Like, parents should be able to make decisions about their own kids' health. And if you want to get all the vaccines, that's amazing for you. If you want to kind of do an in between, that's amazing for you as well. If you're like, I'm not into that, that's amazing for you. That is what a free country is about, making your own decisions. And the other issue I've been so passionate about that also came out this week is the flipping of the food pyramid. And it's just spectacular because our food pyramid was so wrong. It was obviously so corrupt and bought off by lobbyists for big food, as I call them. And so flipping that around, and like you said, Cameron, the diet that you're going on where it's healthy fats, it's, eating steak, it's whole milk instead of, we went on this like whole train of doing like the almond milk, the oat milk that is just full of like these disgusting seed oils and it's all fake. shake. Unless you're lactose intolerant, there is nothing wrong with milk. I cook with real butter as well. I'm not cooking with any of these fake butters that are just made of these hydrogenated, disgusting oils. Like, eat real butter, eat veggies, eat your fruit. Like, I love their slogan, and it sounds just so simple, but it's true. Eat real food, because that's what's going to make you healthy and fulfilled. And I'll say this for like all of your moms out there where you're always trying to figure out like best food to eat for your kids. The best way to feed your kids healthily is to do as little as you can out of a bag. Processed food, it's just like you might as well not even eat, to be honest, for the most part, when it comes to like chips, goldfish, pretzels. This has no nutritional value whatsoever. It's just going to make you feel gross. It's going to make your kids feel gross. It's not giving them the brain nutrients that they need to be healthy kids. And so it's like with Vivi, a snack for me is like I cut up some veggies and do some homemade hummus for her because that's real food and she loves it. I do like chicken. I do little chicken cutlets. She just loves chicken cutlets so much. And so that's actually like healthy snacks that you're going to feel good and filled after. And we always talk about this, Cameron, like the portion sizes in the US are so big because I think a large part of that is that we eat so much processed food. It actually ignites these chemicals in your brain that make you feel hungrier. So you have to eat more versus if you're eating real food, as this administration is now like prioritizing on the food pyramid, you're going to actually end up eating less calories because you're going to actually be filled by every calorie that you put in your mouth. So to wrap this up as well, I will say this. I think there's so many important issues in this country. Like, I think the Islamification of this country is very concerning in the Western world. Mass migration is very concerning. Crime is very concerning. We've covered a lot of issues. But I think health is the number one issue, and I'm so thankful this administration is tackling it, because if you do not have a healthy country, if you have a sick country, then you have a weak country. And so at the end of the day, you guys, all we have is our health. And I can't say this enough. Like, God blessed you with this beautiful body, so you need to fill it with the best food possible, take care of it in the best way. That is what God intended, and that's how you can become the best version of yourself. So I just love this focus on Make America Healthy Again. I truly don't know anyone who could be against this. If you're against this, like, I don't even know what to say for you. This should be a uniting issue that everyone can get behind, even if you have disagreements on things. And that's part of science. You can have disagreements. You can say, hey, I'm doing this study and I'm looking into what works better for this, or I'm doing this study. That's what we want. We want the scientific method. We want open communication, and we don't want our health and our systems being run by these lobbyists and these massive corporations that just don't have your best health in store. And the last thing I'll say too, we will save billions upon billions upon billions of dollars in taxpayer dollars that we spend on healthcare, because instead we're doing preventative health where we're getting to the root of the issues instead of just overprescribing drugs once people are sick. So long story short, I'm hugely in favor of what they're doing, and I can't wait to see what they're going to continue to do on these issues, and I'll be following along closely. Well, girls, it was so great to see you again. Make sure that you tune in every Wednesday. We love you all so much, and we're so thankful for you.
We'll see you every Wednesday.